It's frustrating to see that all these self-appointed representatives of the farmers of our country are once again ready to besiege Delhi. And there is nothing that we can do about it. We know it in our gut that these protesters and the tamasha that is being played out is politically motivated. We all know it too well that the politicians who we voted to power are going to now turn a blind eye to the ruckus that puts the lives and livelihoods of Dilliwallas on a complete standstill. It's the same old story that plays out again and again and again. This happened in 2020 as well, when these Andolanwadis came with their tractors and bulldozers and wreaked havoc in the country's capital. And this tamasha lasted a year. Every Diwali, the Delhi smoke show is on. People watch aghast how years after years our lives are cut short as we inhale the poisonous gases. The judiciary wraps the government and gives verdicts and orders and tries to put some sense into our netas. But it does nothing much, nothing at all. The same thing happened during the Shaheen Bagh protests, the anti-CAA riots. Everybody, from the politicians to the bureaucrats, from the business honchos to the diplomats, they are all too scared to speak up. So today, through this medium, I raise my voice, the voice of the Dilliwala, to shake up the system, to shake up our netas and the governments and ask them that who will stand for us, who will fight for our rights. Let's start this conversation, and with me on the telecast are eminent people living in the national capital. Dilip Cherin, he is the founder of Perfect Relations. And Dilip, have things come to such a situation that Dilliwallas are now on the verge of coming out and holding large protests because we don't have the right to move, we don't have the right to commute, we don't have the right to go to work, we don't even have right to health and hospitals. And God forbid, there is an emergency, you will be stuck in the traffic jam and your loved one will die in front of your own eyes.
You know, I am completely flummoxed by this line of argument. The farmers are apparently, according to what your own news reports are showing, being stopped at the border of Punjab to Haryana. But the barricades I'm seeing are on Golf Links Road in Delhi, in the heart of Lutyens, Delhi. Who are we scared of? I'm seeing that in front of Zakir Hussain Marg. I think that the right approach to this would be to hold serious and continuous talks, allow the capital to breathe, to function, and for people to move freely. That is what we need. If you ask me, there is no question of a threat to the capital. Who are we threatening?
Dilip, what happened, and I have, a ready reference because it happened in 2020 and it happened for one entire year. And I am pretty damn sure that the protests that are then going to come to Delhi, besiege Delhi, are not going to last more than a couple of months because the elections are on the anvil. And this is all a political gimmick, and let's not kid ourselves. There were talks, in fact, dozens of them that had happened in 2020. The government repealed the laws and the farmers still entered into the national capital. And if you remember, there was this flag that was hoisted at the Red Fort. There was a lot of back and forth shoving. In fact, there were injuries that were reported from our security personnel. And this is no sign of a peaceful protest. If you want to protest, go to the designated places and protest. Is this the way to stop everything, put everything on a standstill, simply because you want to play out your political agenda in front of the government?
I think that your recollection of facts is only as good as the facts themselves. Yes, I think that having anybody stormed the capital has implications in terms of disruption of life. But does it actually amount to a law and order or a security concern for a country that is a Vishwa Guru? Answer is no. Should you stop any section of your society? Any section. It doesn't matter what. They could be tradesmen, they could be doctors. We are now in a situation where we don't want the voice of protest of doctors, of temporary teachers to be heard. We want them all to conform to what is being made as policy in closed doors, in air-conditioned rooms. There is no harm us smelling the coffee. And I think that as citizens of a large country, we need to recognize that this is how things need to play out in any democracy. I'll stop here.
Okay.
I'm sure you have a viewpoint, but go ahead.
Let me get Ambassador Basuti Mukherjee as well. Ambassador Mukherjee, what Dilip says, the right to protest, to right to freedom of speech, is this an example of how the government is trying to curtail the voice of the farmers, or the so-called farmers who are representing the larger farmer community of our country?
Well, it's such a delight to meet my old friend Dilip Cherry, and we did a lot of debates against each other. So I'm sure he won't be surprised if I give a different debating perspective, Dilip. So let me put the issue in a different perspective. First of all, Megha, you have to accept the fact that when you are in the national capital, you are surrounded by states who feel that they can bring whichever government of the day down on its knees by threatening to enter the capital with such heavy vehicles that all those beautiful roads that we have built at public expense, crores and crores of rupees, especially before the G20, will collapse because they are not intended to take that kind of weight. Moreover, there seems to be an erroneous impression, again because those particular states are close to Delhi, that they can actually put huge pressure amounting to virtual ransom for their demand, forgetting that there are people across the country, in Bengal where I come from, in the south, etc., who may have a different perspective on those issues which move them deeply. Finally, those who come in those air-conditioned 2 crore, 3 crore vehicles are not the real farmers, because their farms are being farmed by those poor guys from the east where I come from. I forget where Dilip comes from, but they come from the east. They're not terribly well treated. I'm sorry to tell you, Megha, from what I hear, neither in the north nor in Maharashtra, which is why a lot of them now prefer to stay back home, which is why there is a huge shortage of farm labor also in these farms. So this is a complex issue. Now we come to the whole issue of right to protest. Right to protest within reasonable limitations is guaranteed in our constitution. The point here is that do we have the right to protest in a manner in which the national capital is brought to its knees and innocent people, including you and me, commuters, Delhiites, etc., do we not have our own rights to carry on with our livelihood without it being threatened in this manner? One of the demands which was brought was the right to burn the stubble burning. They wanted to have continuous right of stubble burning, knowing the health implications and hazards. But more important than that is the fact that they seem to be oblivious, and this is very important, that the water table in Punjab is falling to dangerously low levels. For their own sake and for the sake of the country, forget about the rest. They are all Indians like you, all of us sitting here. They need to diversify and switch to other crops, for which the government must give them, and is willing, I'm told, to give them the necessary guarantees, the necessary assistance, so that Punjab does not become a desert state 50 years from now? I think that is much more important what we need to discuss.
Okay.
Not about anything else. This is the issue of the day. They need to themselves, to quote Dilip, smell the coffee in a different way and to wake up to the reality that it is not a state meant to grow rice. That comes from the fertile East where I come from. It was never intended to grow rice, but rice is a cash crop which gives them better profit.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And there have been measures, there have been proposals. In fact, as recent as the last meeting that was held by Piyush Goyal, our cabinet minister, the agriculture minister, these proposals had been put. So the question mark over why is it that these representatives, these people who've come out for protests, refuse to accept the proposals, the measures that are provided by the government. So therefore the question about what is their intention right for holding these protests? And we've already seen the example, and like I said, we all know, I mean, it's clear as day, why is it that these protests have been organized? Why is it that it has only happened just a few weeks before the Election Commission is going to release the dates of the election? And then obviously the entire time that there is going to be the political campaigning season, here we are going to see the Delhi protesters who are entering into Delhi, using everything in their might to hold Delhi hostage, to hold our governments hostage, whether it is about Punjab, whether it is about Delhi. Now, Gautam Mukherjee, quickly a response from you. And I build this comparison about how Delhi chokes every Diwali and how the judiciary comes out, pans the governments, asks them to work in cohesion, asks them to bring out an action plan. And this is a often repeated problem that comes, and an often repeated useless solutions that are given by the judiciary, knowing fully well that no action is going to be taken. The point is that the farmer community, which feels itself to be all-encompassive, which feels itself to be all-controlling, is at this point of time of the thought that it can dare any government to do anything, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who hold the strings. They are the ones who are going to be able to twist and turn things according to their advantage. They are the ones who are going to be able to squeeze whatever it is that the demand of the governments, and the governments will have to accede to their demands. We like the example of the 2020 protests, the 3 farm laws were repealed, like the example of how Delhi becomes a smoke show and nothing is done to the farmers of Punjab.
Yes, I think where you ended is where I wish to begin. The farmers of Punjab, these are not the farmers of India, and it is doubtful if they are indeed the farmers or they're infiltrated by a number of anti-national people from Canada, from Britain, from Pakistan, from people like George Soros, who are funding these things, and of course, elements of the opposition that want to bring pressure on the present government. Now, the other thing is that this is pure threat. You've got people coming with proclaims and with bulldozers to attack, to remove the barricades that have been put there. Luckily, the DG of Haryana has spoken to the DG of Punjab, and they've both agreed to make sure that these heavy vehicles, these sort of, instruments of removal are not allowed to come to the Shambhu and other borders. Now, why are there barricades here, as Dilip was saying? Because there are also elements that can come in from Haryana, also elements that can come in from UP, using the less frequented routes. For example, Kapasera, right here on the highway out of Delhi to Gurgaon and back. Now, so you are having to be very cautious. This is not a protest in the usual sense. Just as the year ago protests, just as the others that sat down on the road near Noida, Delhi, these are not protests. Or the ones that were there in Northeast Delhi just before the riots and when Trump came. These are designed to bring pressure on the government by a lot of inimical forces that have much more going on than innocently protesting or protesting in the usual manner. These people are 6% of the farming total, even if you count Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh in there. Where do they have the right to bring the whole country down by attacking Delhi in this manner and in this aggression that they're displaying all over the place? The other thing that you've got to consider is, should, even if, let us say, in the agreements, MSP is brought to Swaminathan's formula, why should the rice and wheat be bought from Punjab? We don't want them to make rice, but they will make rice because when Swaminathan set this up in the 1960s, these were already irrigated places, Punjab, parts of Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh. So there was an emergency situation. We were living on handouts of PL 480 from America, which were erratic. We were on the verge of famine. We'd just been through a war or going through a war, right. 1965, 1962. That was the situation when MSP was given to these people in order to incentivize them. That the politicians have been reluctant to remove it in all these years is the usual who will bell the cat. But the fact is, now the government is trying to use this to diversify away to other crops, and that is exactly what must be done. Counter pressure must be brought against these 6% who have cornered 70% of the MSP only for rice and wheat in these three minuscule places. The other thing is, the BJP and the NDA know full well they're not going to get any votes in Punjab. So these people have no leverage to speak of. They want to disrupt, they want to internationalize this like they did last time, and the government is determined, quite rightly, to not let them do that.
Okay.
Of course, now they're saying, never mind the border, the new one more element has joined them, and they say, okay, we'll just demonstrate all over the highways. So this is going to go on for a while, and government will have to crack down and not permit this. They should have never repealed the farm laws last time under pressure, and this is the consequence of that.
That's what I'm saying, that the governments at this point of time are not able to do anything about it. This is a trap that has been set by these protesters, and they know very well that they are going to be able to get away with this. They have done it in the past and they are doing it again. So again the question that I ask is, why are the representatives of the people of Delhi not being able to raise their voices, stand with what is right, and call out what is being done in terms under the lure of protests, under the lure of peaceful protests, under the lure of standing up in support of the farmer community, and this removing the barricades, bringing their tractors, completely ramming into these concrete slabs that have been set up. I mean, what sort of peaceful protests are this? This is what I'm going to ask again. Sumit, quickly coming to you about, isn't it time? The point, what happens? What happens if the people of Delhi come out? And they come out in large numbers and they hold these counter protests and they are doing the dharnas, and we then completely obfuscate the entirety of the Delhi NCR region. We talk about, listen, we are not going to allow for any logistics to happen. We are not going to allow for any work to happen. We are not going to allow for any vehicles to commute from one place to another, and do this at Rashtrapati Bhavan, and do this in front of the Red Fort, and do this in Lutyens, Delhi. And then what happens? Because something has to give.
See, Megha ji, thank you very much for having me on your show. It's a very important discussion today. The point remains very simple. It was a privilege to live in Delhi. Now you are a culprit to live in Delhi, because anybody can come. If you have the muscle, if you have the machines, you can block the streets of Delhi. It's a very given now. Why are these people coming with tractors and bulldozers? It's a peaceful product. 100 policemen of Haryana are injured, right? 16 of them are in ICU. They are battling life and death. 2 are already dead. By the time we talk, there might be one more who would have unfortunately passed away. Yesterday, they surrounded the police. They burned the parali. They put the Lal Mirch powder on it. It's a Haryana police officer whom I'm quoting. Then they pelted the police with the stones. They attacked them with the lathis, parsa, bala, and gandasi. That is how 14 or 16 are in ICU. So where does the peaceful protest come? I have video wherein they are showing that Modi ka graph Ram Mandir ke baad upar badh gaya, isko niche lana. Why do you need 6 months of ration? Why do you need to get those trawlers of bricks here? And let's talk of some numbers. Because you have the street, why do you need JCBs for the sake of God? Why do you need modified tractors? Why are you coming with these balas, farsas and all? Whom are you fighting with? And why are you threatening the government of the day? Yesterday, I saw one more interesting demand. Now, Yogi must resign, Modi must resign, and Khattar must resign. Tab tak protest nahi hatega. Let's look at the numbers. Some interesting parts. 4%, 6% of the farmers are under MSP, right? 94% are not. 24 crops are under MSP. We grow more than 1,000 crops. The number one wheat producing states is MP, and they have no problem. The number one rice producing states is West Bengal, and they have no problem. And now if you look at the numbers, what are the demands? First of all, hamare sare karze maaf kar lo. Okay. Then bijli, pani, sab free. And thirdly, I want to grow whatever I want to grow, and you have to give me MSP. If I want you to grow dal, no, I'll not grow dal. I'll grow whatever you want. You have to give me MSP. Now increase our subsidies. I will do the cultivation. You give me the insurance, and you pay for the insurance, right? So do we tell them, hey, we can't do this because there are already problems in WTO? WTO chhod do. Now, if you leave WTO, all your FTA is gone, all international trade is gone. There are only 8 countries who are out of WTO out of 210. So that means the debacle of India, you are becoming a Venezuela and Caracas at a speed of a Sukhoi flying in the air. That is how. So you want them to make Venezuela. Then if you look at the subsidies, today the farming subsidies are 2%. It is more than your defense budget. Today we spend 2.1% on the education budget. We are giving that much already in the subsidy. And what is the new thing which has hit? Any farmer who is above 60 years must get a pension. Now, if there's a lady in the house, she also gets a pension. Gautamji, don't end it here. I have one more thing to tell you. The latest thing which they are talking about is, now I am a farmer. I have a 3.5 crore SUV. I have more than one there. By the way, there are more than 10 lakh farmers who grow more than 1 crore of crop. I am not paying any tax. Bijli free, pani free, karza, makut, sab muft, right? Insurance, sab doge. Now, what do I want? I want new thing. I want myself to be included in Manrega. Do you believe it? Now, my father and my mother will be covered with 10,000 rupees pension. Me, my wife and my brother, we are under Manrega. So government has to pay us 20,000 rupees, 21,000 rupees per month. So if you look at my outlay for the government, it's around a lakh of rupees per family. And we have 15 crore kisans in the nation. Do 1 lakh into 50 crores, you have no money left for capital expenditure. You will make this country into Caracas at a lightning speed. And that is what the fantastic farm protest is about. And let me tell you, Megha ji, why did they reject this proposal given by the Piyush Goyal ji when he gave them 5 crops? You know why? Because we are importing maximum dals from Canada. And you know how much is it? 485 lakh metric tons. I'm giving you numbers and data. How much is that? How much are we paying to Canadians? $500 million. Rest come from other parts of the world, and we are paying around $1 billion plus for import of dals. If this was given, why don't you grow dals and we will guarantee you MSP and as the price you want? No problem. But what I'm saying, I only wanted wheat and rice. Where is the protest about? What has Yogi and Modi got to do with it?
Yeah.
Manrega, do you believe Manrega? 1 crore की खेती करो, Manrega चाहिए मुझे.
Okay. Okay, all right. Fair enough, all those points. And Dilip, would you like to respond to that? And the biggest question, why is it that farmers from MP and Bengal and other parts of the country not protesting? Are they not facing the same issues as the farmers from Punjab are facing?
I think that there is great rationality in rejecting all these foolish farmer demands. Definitely, they don't have any business expecting either pension or support for crops beyond a point. Definitely, the government in the interest of the nation, needs to make sure that places which, as Ambassador Mukherjee said, are short of water should not be growing paddy. I completely agree with you. I think they should be growing dal, and I think they should be made to switch to these crops. Fully agree with you. I think all these ridiculous demands deserve the trash can where they should be tossed into. Speak to them, get them organized, and don't treat them like the invading Chinese. That's my only point. I fully agree with you. I would like to see the citizens of Delhi coming out and protesting if they must. I would like to see the policemen treating them as the annadatas of this country, as should be the farmer of West Bengal and the farmer of Madhya Pradesh, who's doing great service. Let's not become hostage to these kulaks and rich farmers. There's no problem with that. I fully agree with it. Toss all this out. Let them come in without their road rollers and talk, and keep talking for as many days as it takes. If you've made mistakes in the past, yes, the country has to live up to promises made in the past because we are a country. But alter the policy, move in a new direction, and that is what will make India's agriculture sector the kind of bulwark against global forces which want to see us not grow at the pace we are growing. I fully agree with all of this.
Absolutely.
And I would love to see the citizens of Delhi come out. The pampered citizens of Delhi, I promise, will continue to scroll through Instagram and enjoy the flyovers. They're not going to come out to protest.
Dilip, over here, visuals on our screens, these are by any extent of the imagination looking like the pampered Delhiites that you're talking about. Perhaps, one tiny small section, because here you are people who are taking buses, who take public transport, who are on the metros, and they have to stop and walk over to their places of work simply because they have no other alternative. If they get stuck in the traffic jams, it takes them another couple of hours just to reach their home or just to reach their workplace. So these are actual problems. These are real problems, and we cannot discard them. And the point is that if the Delhiite comes down on the streets and decides that enough is enough, action needs to be taken, the governments need to be shaken from their slumber, then so be it. And then we'll want to understand, how do the governments of Delhi, how do the governments of Punjab actually react to it, actually respond to it. On that note, I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, and I hope this has made a difference. I hope our authorities, our bureaucrats, our governments have been able to listen to the plight of the people of Delhi and hope against hope that they are going to take action against this nonsense that is taking place in the peripheries of Delhi. Thanks for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.